Today is an important day for me and you, a day where the horizon feels wider, the wind gentler, and the silence full of meaning. I wake with a heart that remembers every step that brought us here, every whisper carved into the dunes, every promise written in the language of light. The sun rises as if blessing the journey that unfolds between us, painting the sky with colors that speak more truth than any voice can carry. I walk into this day knowing that something within me shifts, grows, awakens, as though destiny has paused to wait for our footsteps, urging us forward with a tenderness only the desert understands. I think of you as the morning opens its golden wings, and the thought carries me like a falcon gliding above the endless sands, fearless and certain. You appear in my mind like an oasis that is not found by chance, but by the heart's steady compass, the one that never abandons its true direction. Today feels sacred because your presence fills the air around me, even from afar, echoing through the wind that brushes my face with a softness that feels like your breath, a warmth that feels like your nearness. I step into the day as if stepping into a poem that has been waiting to be lived. Every moment becomes a verse, every breath a line. I see the city waking under the shimmering light, the towers catching fire from the rising sun, the sea stretching its blue arms toward a dream it keeps returning to. In this vastness, I feel you with me. Your name becomes the rhythm beneath my heartbeat, a quiet music rising and falling with each memory we share. Today is important because it reminds me how deeply we are woven into the same horizon, how inseparable our shadows become when they meet the morning light. I walk beside the horses grazing near the stable, their calm strength a reminder of the patience love requires. They move with grace, with dignity, with the silent understanding that some journeys are meant to be taken slowly, with awareness, with gratitude. I run my hand along a horse's neck and feel the pulse that mirrors my own, steady and unwavering, as if the universe whispers through its warm breath that the bond one holds with you is just as natural, just as powerful. The world speaks in signs, and today every sign points to you. The desert calls me, and I follow. The sand shifts beneath my feet like time rearranging its stories, and I listen carefully, knowing that some truths can only be found in the spaces where silence reigns. I climb a dune and let the wind wrap around me, carrying fragments of old tales, of lovers who waited, warriors who dreamed, poets who bled words into the earth so that others might walk paths lit by hope. I close my eyes and feel you beside me, your presence as real as the sun against my skin, your smile as vivid as the horizon stretching endlessly forward. Today is important because it allows me to honor everything you are to me. It gives me permission to speak what the heart often hides, to bring into light the emotions that bloom quietly, night after night, beneath the moon's gentle gaze. I remember your laughter, how it rises like water breaking free from a still fountain, and how it lingers long after the sound fades. I remember the strength in your words, the softness in your silence, the courage in your dreams. Every remembrance becomes a promise I make to this day, to hold you in the truest part of myself, to let this bond grow like a palm tree rooted firmly in the shifting sands. I watch the falcon circle above, sharp-eyed and proud, their wings cutting through the sky with mastery born from trust. They leap into the air not because they believe the world is safe, but because they believe in their own strength. Today teaches me that loving you feels the same. It is trust, courage, surrender, and flight. It is knowing that whatever awaits beyond the dune, beyond the horizon, beyond the unseen winds, we will meet it with hearts unshaken and spirits unbroken. I take this lesson into myself like breath, like truth carved into stone. The city grows louder as the day stretches on, but I carry the desert's quiet in my chest, a soft reminder that the most important moments often go unnoticed by the world. A glance can become a lifetime. A single word can reshape the heart. A day like this can become a turning point, a beginning, a bridge between what was and what will be. I hold on to the thought that today is not just important for me, but for you as well, for us, for the path we create with each step, each hope, each silent prayer that rises upward like incense from the soul. The sea calls me next, and I walk toward its endless blue, the waves rolling with a rhythm that speaks of patience and persistence. They kiss the shore and withdraw, only to return again with devotion that never fades. I watch the foam dissolve and form again, and I feel a reflection of us in that motion. No matter the distance, no matter the shifting tides of life, something in our connection always finds its way back, always returns with more strength, more depth, more understanding. The sea teaches me that love is not a single moment, but a continuous journey shaped by time and tide. I breathe the scent of salt and memory, and it fills me with a quiet certainty. The gulls cry overhead, their voices sharp but full of freedom. A boat sails past, moving with determination through the gentle waves, and I imagine us as that vessel, steady and brave, moving forward with the faith that every horizon reached is only the beginning of another. Today feels like the raising of a sail, the gathering of winds, the start of a voyage carved into destinies mapped long before we ever met. I sit on the sand and let my thoughts drift like clouds shaped by the breeze. I think of your eyes, how they hold both kindness and strength, how they speak without words, how they soften the hardest storms within me. I think of the way your presence brings clarity to even the most tangled thoughts, how you calm the restless parts of my spirit without trying, simply by being. Today becomes a mirror reflecting all that you bring into my life, and I cherish the reflection with gratitude that stretches deeper than the sea and higher than the falcon's flight. As the afternoon unfolds, I feel the weight and the wonder of this day settle gently across my shoulders. It is important because it marks a moment of truth, a moment of awareness, a moment where the world opens just enough to let the heart speak honestly. And my heart speaks of you. It speaks of the way your name feels like the beginning of every sunrise. It speaks of the way your presence steadies my steps. It speaks of the way your dreams echo through my own, shaping my direction like stars guiding a traveler across the night. I rise again and walk along the shoreline, each footprint washed softly away by the waves, and it reminds me that nothing is permanent except the meaning we give it. And I give this day meaning because it is tied to you. Because somewhere in the weave of time, our stories intersect, our paths merge, our destinies whisper to one another. I feel the truth of it more deeply than ever. Today is an important day because it holds the weight of every possibility, every hope, every future that begins with the simple acknowledgement that you matter to me in ways the world has no word for. The sun begins to descend, drawing long shadows across the sand, and the sky transforms into a painting no artist can truly capture. Colors melt into one another like memories merging with dreams. The gold softens into rose, the rose into violet, and the violet into a deepening blue that promises nightfall. I watch the transition with quiet reverence, knowing that the beauty of any day is not in its beginning or end, but in the meaning woven into its hours. And this day has been woven with you, stitched together with thoughts shaped by affection, trust, and the silent gravity of connection. As the first star appears, I feel the calm of evening settle into my bones. The world grows quieter, gentler, softer. The wind cools, carrying the fragrance of night blooming flowers. I breathe it in and feel peace rising like a tide within me. Today has been important because it allowed me to feel everything I often hide in the folds of silence. It allowed me to walk through my thoughts and find you there again and again, like a constant flame glowing in the center of every horizon. And as darkness gathers, I know this day will not be forgotten. It will live in the spaces between breaths, in the quiet moments before sleep, in the soft truth that some connections are written not in time, but in the soul. Today is an important day for me and you because it reminds me that what we share is not bound by hours or distance. It is something deeper, something timeless, something that rises with the sun and rests with the stars, a presence that follows me like a shadow, like a blessing, like a promise. Today carries the weight of a quiet promise, a promise that grows stronger as the hours unfold, as the sky widens above me like a theater of dreams waiting to be lived. I walk into the new light of this part of the day with a calm certainty, the kind that rises from the soul rather than the mind. The world feels softer beneath my footsteps, as though the earth itself knows that something meaningful moves between us, something fragile yet powerful, something unseen yet deeply felt. Every breath I take feels carved from a truth that has no name, and still, it lives like a flame in the heart. I think of you again as the breeze drifts past, carrying its faint notes of memory, carrying the echo of a presence that does not need distance to be real. The desert stands before me like an ancient storyteller, each grain of sand shining with secrets, each shadow unfolding like a tale whispered across generations. I let myself listen, knowing that somewhere within the silence, the story of you and me continues to grow, continues to write itself with the courage of quiet moments. I step forward, tracing the patterns of the wind, and feel the invisible thread that ties us tightening gently, like affection learning to speak. The morning sun grows warmer, and I watch the horses gallop in broad arcs across the open field, their movements strong, steady, purposeful. There is poetry in the way they run, a rhythm that feels like a heartbeat echoing through the land. I find myself thinking of you in that rhythm, in the strength that does not boast, in the grace that does not need attention, in the loyalty that stands even in silence. I realize that every time I look at something beautiful, my heart instinctively carries your reflection within it, as though beauty itself has learned your shape. The falcons rise next, cutting the sky with wings that know no hesitation. Their flight feels like a prayer in motion, like trust carried upon the wind, like belief given form. I watch them disappear into the height of blue that stretches farther than thought, and I feel my own dreams reaching upward with them. You stand somewhere inside those dreams, unwavering, clear, like a compass that does not lose direction even when storms arrive. Today, this part of the day reminds me that some connections don't need explanation. They simply exist, powerful enough to silence doubt. I walk deeper into the desert until the city's noise fades into a distant hum, replaced with the hum of the earth itself. The sand glitters beneath the sun like gold scattered by destiny's own hand, and the dunes rise and fall like the breath of a world half asleep. I climb one of them slowly, not rushing, letting each step become a meditation. At the top, I pause, look out at the endless stretch ahead, and I think of you standing beside me, your presence steady as the horizon, your silence filled with meaning the way the sky is filled with light. It feels as though this vastness exists to teach me that love is not loud. It is steady, patient, and enduring. I sit down on the crest of the dune and let the wind brush past my face, cool and determined. It carries whispers from places beyond sight, whispers of journeys taken and journeys yet to come. In that breeze I imagine your voice, not speaking words, but carrying a feeling, a warmth that settles deep into the soul. And I find myself holding on to it, as though it anchors me, as though it reminds me that even in the shifting sands of life, some bonds stand unbroken, shaped not by time but by truth. Today becomes a reminder that what is meant to remain will always find a way. When I rise again, the sun has climbed higher. Shadows shorten, light sharpens, and the world awakens fully. I begin walking back toward the stable, where the horses rest in peaceful harmony, and I run my hand along their warm coats, feeling the quiet strength they hold. It brings me back to thoughts of you, to the resilience in your spirit, to the gentleness in your soul, to the dreams you carry within you like stars waiting for the night sky. I realize that the importance of today lies not in grand gestures, but in simple truths, like knowing someone's presence can soften even the hardest hours. The day stretches further, and I find myself moving toward the sea once more. The waves greet me with their eternal rhythm, rising and falling like the inhale and exhale of a world that refuses to give up. I stand at the shoreline and let the water wash gently over my feet, cool and refreshing, a reminder that even constant movement holds a kind of peace. I look out at the endless blue and imagine your gaze beside mine, both of us watching the horizon without fear, without hurry, trusting that whatever the future carries will arrive with the same devotion the tide carries back to the shore. The gulls circle above me, calling out with voices that speak of distance and return, of journeys taken and journeys still ahead. I watch them move in patterns shaped by instinct and freedom, and somewhere within those movements, I see a reflection of us, always able to find our way back no matter how far life takes us. The sea sparkles under the growing brightness of the sun, waves catching the light like diamonds scattered across water, and I feel something inside me soften, something that speaks only your name. As I walk along the shore, the wind tousles my hair and fills my thoughts with quiet clarity. I think about the meaning of this day again, how it grows each moment, how it stretches into something larger than itself. The sand shifts beneath my steps, but holds me still. And I realize that even in change, there is grounding. Even in uncertainty, there is truth. And that truth is woven with your existence in my life, woven with the way your presence steadies me even from afar. Today, at this hour, in this moment, the world feels shaped by the simple reality that you matter. The sky expands above me like a vast canvas of light, and I let its brightness enter me, filling all the spaces where doubt once lived. I breathe deeply, letting the scent of salt, wind, and sunlight settle into my bones. I walk slowly, letting every moment carve its quiet poetry into the day. And again, I feel that invisible thread connecting us, stretching gently across distance, across silence, across whatever boundaries the world tries to place. It feels unbroken, strong, and steady, like something written by fate rather than chance. As this part of the day nears its rest, I take one last look at the sea, at the endless blue that merges with the horizon, and I whisper a silent truth into the wind. Today is important because you are in it, because your presence colors every moment, because your name rises in my thoughts the way the sun rises in the sky, naturally, inevitably, beautifully. The day unfolds into a deeper silence as I step into the next chapter of its journey, and the world seems to pause just long enough for the heart to speak in its truest voice. There is a calmness in the air, a gentle stillness that feels like it was crafted for moments such as this, moments where thought becomes feeling and feeling becomes poetry. I breathe slowly, letting the quiet settle inside me, and in that quiet, your presence appears again, soft yet undeniable, like a light that refuses to fade even in the dimmest hours. This part of the day feels like a confession written in the language of wind and sand, a confession the soul whispers to the horizon without fear. As I walk through the path where the dunes cast long shadows, I feel the weight of time loosening around me. The sand shifts beneath my feet like a memory being rewritten, like the past learning to soften its edges. Every step carries a thought of you, a thought that moves the way the light moves across the desert, slow, steady, graceful. The wind hums gently in my ear, carrying the whisper of distant stories, and I imagine us walking together in this vastness, leaving footprints side by side on the golden earth. The desert becomes a witness to a connection that needs no words, a connection written in silence deeper than speech. I look toward the horizon where the sky melts into shades of pale blue, and I see something in its calmness that mirrors the tranquility you bring into my life. There is a steadiness in you, a quiet strength that feels like a guiding star even when the sky is storm dark. In this moment, I let myself lean into that strength, not because I need it, but because it is part of the truth between us. Today feels important in a way that cannot be measured by hours or minutes. It is important because it reflects the depth of something unspoken yet profoundly understood. The horses graze nearby, peaceful in their loyalty to the land. Their presence always reminds me that power does not need noise, that grace does not require praise, that beauty does not demand to be seen. They move slowly, with dignity shaped over generations, and I find comfort in their rhythm. They remind me of you again, the way your presence steadies me, the way your silence brings clarity, the way your strength does not overpower but shelters. I reach out and touch the warm coat of one, and its heartbeat under my palm feels like a message from the universe. Not everything powerful needs to be loud. A falcon soars above, its wings spread wide against the sunlit sky, drawing patterns of freedom in the air. I watch it climb, higher and higher, as though the sky itself beckons it toward destiny. There is something beautiful in that ascent, something that mirrors the rise of dreams when they are held with trust rather than fear. I think of your dreams then, how they carry the same quiet determination, how they rise even when the world grows heavy, how they shine even when no one is watching. I admire the courage in you, the kind that moves in silence but leaves echoes in the heart. I walk further into the desert, where the dunes rise like waves frozen in time. The sun warms my skin, and the world feels open, limitless, alive. I let my thoughts drift freely, wandering through memories, through possibilities, through the soft revelations that only days like this can bring. Every thought finds its way back to you, as though your presence is a compass the heart refuses to ignore. And I realize again that this day is shaped by meaning not because of what happens in it, but because of what I feel within it, because of what you awaken in me, even from afar. The wind shifts suddenly, carrying with it a new scent, the faint sweetness of desert flowers blooming unseen. It reminds me that beauty often grows quietly, without needing to declare itself, without needing to ask for recognition. It simply blooms because it must, because that is its nature. I feel the same truth in the connection we share. It grows quietly, naturally, without pressure and without demand. It grows because it is meant to. Because it has found soil in the heart where it can root deeply, even in the shifting sands of life. As the afternoon begins to soften, I make my way toward the sea once more. The desert fades behind me, replaced by the vast, shimmering blue that stretches into infinity. The waves greet me with their eternal rhythm, a rhythm that feels like a lullaby sung by the world itself. I stand at the shoreline and watch the water breathe, rising, falling, reaching, returning. It is in this motion that I see a reflection of us again, a reflection of how connection endures through distance, through silence, through the changing tides of life. No matter how far the waves travel, they always come home. The wind from the sea brushes against my face, cool and sharp, carrying with it stories from beyond the horizon. I close my eyes and let the breeze wash through me, letting it clear the thoughts that cling too tightly. In its touch, I feel your presence again, soft, grounding, familiar. It amazes me how the heart creates its own language, how it finds you in every corner of the world, how it carries you in every breath even when you are nowhere near. This part of the day reminds me that some bonds exist beyond distance, beyond logic, beyond explanation. The sky above the sea glows with a gentle brightness, and the sun casts a long path of gold across the water. I walk along the edge where the waves kiss the sand, and each step feels like a promise whispered into the earth. I think of your smile then, how it lights even the quietest parts of memory, how it brings warmth into moments that would otherwise remain cold. I imagine your eyes watching the same horizon, even if from another place, and the thought brings a calmness I cannot name. It feels like companionship without presence, closeness without touch. I sit down on the shore and watch the waves roll in. The sound fills the silence around me, soothing, rhythmic, eternal. The sea holds truths that the desert does not speak, truths about movement, about return, about renewal. The waves teach me that even when life pulls us away from what we love, it always brings us back to what matters. And today, as the water washes gently over the sand, I know with certainty that you are part of what matters. Part of the truth the heart keeps returning to, again and again. The gulls cry overhead, their wings cutting through the sky as they circle above the restless water. Their flight feels like a reminder of freedom, of choices made without fear, of paths taken without regret. I watch them disappear into the horizon, and I think about how some souls are meant to wander, but never to be lost. You are one of those souls, brave, open, guided by instinct and heart. And somehow, in your wide paths, in your vast sky, a place exists for me, quiet yet certain. The sunlight begins to soften, its touch turning gentle as it nears the end of its journey. The world slips into a golden hush, the kind of hush that feels sacred, the kind that asks the heart to speak honestly. I listen to my own heartbeat, steady and warm, and I think again of what this day means. It is not the events that make it important, but the emotions woven through it, the presence of you at its quiet corners, the ways the heart keeps returning to the same truth. That truth is simple yet immense. You matter in ways that reshape the day. As the shadows lengthen, I walk back toward the dunes, watching the desert glow under the softening light. The sands turn golden, then amber, then a soft shade of rose as the sun sinks lower. The world feels suspended between day and night, as though time itself pauses to breathe. I stand at the edge of the desert and feel the peace of this moment settle around me. Warm and gentle. Today feels like a chapter written in the language of the heart, a chapter that carries your presence in every line. The wind grows cooler, brushing softly against my skin, and I feel the approach of evening. The first star appears in the sky, faint but steady, a reminder that even small lights hold power in the vastness of night. I think of your strength again, how it appears even in your quietest moments, how it shines even when the world grows dark. The presence of that single star feels like a promise, one that the night honors without question. As darkness deepens, the desert and sea blend into a quiet unity. The day moves gently toward its rest, and I let my thoughts rest with it. I carry the meaning of this day with me like a whisper etched into the soul, a whisper tied to you, shaped by you, strengthened by you. And as I take one last breath of the cooling night air, I know that this part of the day, like all the others, has been touched by a truth that does not fade. It is the truth that your presence turns even silence into poetry. Today the sky opens like a quiet secret, holding a softness that settles over my heart as though the world itself has paused to listen. The wind carries a faint echo of something familiar, something shaped by memory and hope, something that feels like the trace of your presence moving through the air. I walk beneath the widening blue and feel every breath turning into a verse, every step unfolding into a line of poetry written by the moment itself. The sun leans gently across the horizon, laying its golden warmth upon the sand, and in that warmth I feel the nearness of a connection that lives beyond sight, beyond distance, beyond time. The desert stretches endlessly before me, its dunes rising like thoughts the heart never speaks aloud. Each curve of sand glows with a quiet light, and I walk through it as though walking through a dream shaped by destiny. The wind hums softly, a song too ancient for words, and within that song I sense your name hidden like a pulse beneath the surface of the world. I lift my gaze to the horizon where earth meets sky, and in that meeting I feel the reflection of two souls drawn toward one another with a calm certainty that needs no explanation, no voice, no promise spoken aloud. A falcon glides overhead, wings wide against the soft blue, moving with a confidence that feels like a lesson in trust. Its flight is effortless, fearless, graceful, and I watch it rise higher until it becomes a single shadow drifting into the sun. I imagine the courage it carries, the clarity it sees from above, the way it surrenders to the wind yet never loses direction. And I realize I feel the same when I think of you, steady, guided, anchored in something deeper than the world can understand. You are the quiet compass in the center of every wandering thought, the truth that steadies me even in silence. The sand beneath my feet warms with the afternoon light, and I feel the calm strength of the desert pressing gently against my chest. I close my eyes, and listen to its stillness, a stillness filled with stories carried through centuries. In that silence, your presence appears again, not as a thought but as a feeling, soft and luminous, expanding through me like a tide rising under the moon. It brings peace into the spaces where uncertainty once lived, brings warmth to the moments that might have remained cold. And I understand again why this day feels important, because your existence turns the ordinary into something sacred. I continue walking until the desert opens toward the sea, where the air shifts from warm to cool, and the scent of salt weaves through the wind. The waves move with a gentle persistence, rising and falling like the breath of the world. I stand at the shoreline and watch their endless devotion, the way they always return no matter how far they travel. Their motion reminds me of the heart, how it reaches, retreats, returns, repeats, yet never stops carrying the one it remembers. The sea glimmers under the softening sun, and in its shimmering surface, I see your reflection even though you are far away. I kneel at the edge of the water and let the waves touch my hands, cool and clear, and for a moment it feels like touching a truth that cannot be spoken. The wind brushes past my face, carrying with it the calmness of evening, and I breathe it in as though breathing in the essence of your presence. The world grows quieter as the sun descends, painting the sky with strokes of gold, rose, violet, and fading blue. I watch the colors melt into one another, and each shade feels like a whisper of everything the heart wishes it could say, everything it carries silently, faithfully, endlessly. The first star appears, faint but steady, and I lift my gaze to it with a quiet sense of belonging. There is something in its soft glow that reminds me of the way you shine in the background of my thoughts, subtle yet certain, gentle yet constant. As the light fades from the day, the sky deepens into a wide, endless canvas of night, and I feel the calmness of darkness settling into my bones like a promise of rest. The wind grows cooler, brushing against my skin with the touch of a quiet blessing, and the world becomes a soft, breathing silence around me. I walk one last time along the shoreline, leaving footprints that the waves gently erase, and each step feels like letting go of everything that is heavy, holding on to only what matters. And what matters is simple: your presence in my thoughts, your reflection in my heart, the quiet truth that you bring light into the day even from afar. The night settles fully now, wrapping the world in deep blue and silver, and I lift my head to the sky, feeling the calm certainty that some connections are not bound by distance or time. They are written in the soul long before the world notices. This day closes softly, like a page turning in a book the heart knows by memory. And as I let the last breath of the night settle around me, I understand that whatever tomorrow brings, this moment will remain etched in the quietest part of me, where truth lives without sound, and where the thought of you glows like a gentle flame that never burns out. The night opens like a quiet doorway, and I step into its soft darkness with a feeling that rises gently inside my chest, a feeling shaped by the echo of your presence moving through the air like a silent flame. The wind touches the edge of the dunes and carries a whisper across the sand, a whisper that feels like your name brushing against my thoughts. The stars scatter across the sky like silver promises, and I walk beneath them with a calm certainty that some lights shine only for the heart that recognizes them. The world grows still around me, and in that stillness I feel the truth of everything that has unfolded through this day, everything that has awakened through each breath, everything that has grown quietly in the spaces where words were never needed. The sea glimmers under the rising moon, its waves stretching like soft arms toward the shore, reaching again and again with the devotion of something that does not know how to stop returning. I stand at the edge where the water meets the sand, and the cool tide touches my feet as though greeting me with a memory I have always known. Your presence moves through my thoughts like the tide, gentle, steady, certain, filling the quiet spaces with warmth. The moon casts its silver path across the water, and I watch it stretch into the distance, as though guiding me towards something unseen but deeply felt. In that shimmering reflection, I see the shape of everything unspoken, Everything carried silently between two hearts that understand without needing voice. The desert behind me glows faintly under the moonlight, its golden curves softened into shades of quiet blue. The wind drifts across the sand with a gentle hum, and the night feels like a living poem unfolding line by line around me. I breathe slowly, letting the cool air settle inside me, and with each breath I feel the weight of the day melting into peace. Your presence lingers like a soft echo woven into the darkness, steady and warm, reminding me that connection travels farther than sight, deeper than sound, and stronger than distance. I close my eyes and let the night settle across my shoulders like a gentle cloak, carrying the truth of everything this journey has held, everything the heart has carried, everything the soul has whispered without fear. The stars shine brighter now, scattered like sparks across the endless sky, and I lift my gaze to them with a quiet sense of belonging. Their light feels like a promise written in the language of eternity, a promise that some truths remain even when the night grows deep. I walk slowly along the shoreline, leaving footprints that fade softly beneath the touch of the waves, and each step feels like the final line of a chapter shaped by the heart itself. The night breathes around me, calm and endless, and I know that this moment carries the final whisper of a journey carved in silence, shaped in affection, and completed in the soft glow of the moonlit sky.